Content warning. We have fun and laugh a lot during the process of making this podcast, but some of the movies we watch have adult situations. That means we may use language that isn't suitable for children, as well as topics that could be triggering for some. We want you to enjoy our podcast, and that means taking care of yourself and feeling safe. Thanks for listening.
Go ahead and marry her, you one-bald bastard.
Good morning, Chicago
Land.
location.
Chicago location.
Not even in Chicago. I was trying to think of we're not a suburb of Chicago. We're like,
Nope.
What is it? We're like, I don't know.
Not close to Chicago?
I guess Illinois. Are we recording?
We are.
Thank God. The people need to hear every little thing. Jesus Christ.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Thanks for coming back.
Welcome.
Or being here for the first time.
Oh, yeah. This is your first time. Maybe go back and listen to a couple.
Yeah, if you're listening to this just because you like this movie,
maybe test the waters before you jump in. I'm Z.
I'm Keith. No one cares. Or if they care, they don't need to hear it. That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. This week we are talking about the film While You Were
Faxing.
We're talking about while you were sleeping, and if you've never seen this movie and it's on your want to watch list, we're going to
There's
spoil
going to be some
it
spoilers.
greatly for you. So maybe stop now and watch the movie. And then I love this movie.
That's great. I love this episode of The Mindy Project, directed by Nora Ephron.
Fuck.
Starring Lone Star Zero Ambrose and Sandy Cohen as the two male leads, and then supporting roles by Ray Romano's dad and Molly Shannon's grandma. Are you okay? Legitimately sobbing. And old Sandy B.
Sandy Beaches.
Oh, that's good. That's like a good drag name or something. It's a good stage name.
Jot that down. What I'm saying?
It's
right?
jotted down for all digital
I guess.
perpetuity.
Yes, we are recording. I'm you don't want to forget that. You might want to write it down somewhere. No one's gonna know I said that. We're off to a great start. Great start.
What?
I tried to say
Rocktober?
I tried to say we're off to a great start, but I just stopped forming words at some point, and I was like, I fucking loved this movie when I was a kid. I literally punched my leg to
Are you okay?
emphasize. Oh, I'm amazing. I feel great.
Good practice for the EpiPen.
Whew.
Oh my god.
You wrote
I'm already lost in my notes. Somehow I didn't write down director and writer credits,
shit.
which I always do.
No, it's like Turtle Top or something, or Tinsel
It's
Top.
like Tiger Balm.
No, the director
Don't
is
be racist.
God. It's like it ends with
I believe it's Turtle Taub.
Oh, Taub. Okay.
Let's see.
It's like Taub. I don't know how that's supposed to be pronounced.
Taub.
Taub. Okay.
That's how I pronounce it. And that's the ball. John Turtle Taub.
Turtle. Okay.
who
I was right.
is also known for
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Phenomenon,
Oh.
National Treasure. Producer. But director of Cool Runnings.
I've never seen that.
Nor I, and I never will
Oh,
because
yeah, because of a certain
somebody.
I was gonna say I don't want to watch it because.
Written by Daniel Sullivan and Frederick LeBeau, or Lebao.
Yeah, we'll never know.
All right.
Yeah, no, this movie.
Z loved this movie.
Loves
this movie.
I do.
Has loved this movie.
I mean, well, as an adult, it's a little bit different. But like when I was younger, I was like a big fan of this movie. I thought it was really funny, and I thought it was a nice, like, kind of little love story.
Mm-hmm. You were wrong.
Also, like, I was like, oh, to live where there's snow, and now I'm like, ugh. Well, I like it. I like the snow. I don't like. I mean, but I understand. Like, I get,
it's
like,
definitely less romantic, but it does.
Well, like
the scene where they're slipping all over each other.
I'm like, can relate.
Yep.
That's like literally happened.
That was our first date. Just kidding. There's no ice, but I did fall and break a rib.
Oh, it's true. Yeah. Aw.
First, air quote dates. Date.
Yeah.
Air quote singular dates plural. What?
I just wish everyone could see how you do air quotes. I literally don't know how you move your fingers that way.
It's not the first time I've heard that. Freak.
God, yes. This week someone on Twitter decided to insult me by calling me a freak, which made my day. And just like I kind of distrust when people say like they get insulted and they think it was really funny. I'm always like, did you though? Or are you just trying to make yourself look like you don't get your feelings hurt ever? Right. But this was legitimately, I was like, oh, this is what they mean. Because I was like, this is so funny to me.
Finally, it's happened to me.
I was like, oh my God, this is hilarious. They were just like, freak. And I was like, yeah, I made it. Finally, God, it felt like so good. I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, that was a little aside. So back to While You Were Sleeping. So it's a movie, basically. It's, one of those like a movie of mishaps where...
Which I was just thinking, the whole time we were watching this, I kept thinking about how in a recent episode,
yeah.
you talked about how, when we were talking about comedy, comedies and how it's all based on a lie.
Yeah.
And it just snowballs.
The only thing about that is, like, okay, so there's, like, caveats to that, obviously. This is one of them. Like, it does stress me out that it's all a lie.
Because this movie is flawless.
So, basically, no, it's not flawless. But here's the thing. Okay, so she has she works in a...
She worked for CTA.
Toll booth? Yeah, she's, like, in a toll booth.
Chicago Transit Authority for folks who don't live in... Not in the know.
So she basically has a crush on some guy that comes through the toll booth every single day, played by Peter Gallagher, and his eyebrows that honestly deserve a credit of their own.
Amen.
They're flawless. But so
and who can get it as far as I'm concerned.
So he gets it's like Christmas Day. She's working alone. Everything's like closed in. And someone mugs him, knocks him on she sees them like mugging him, and he gets knocked onto the railway or whatever it's called. And then she jumps on the tracks and saves him. But it's Christmas Day and everything is like closed and no one's around to help her and stuff like that. So she's like saves him all by herself. But then she's at the hospital because, she goes with him, and she's like trying to make sure that he's okay or like whether or not he's dead or something like that. And no one will give her information. Now she has a crush on him. So she says out loud to herself, ugh, I was going to marry him. A nurse overhears this and thinks that she's being literally serious, and then starts to be like, oh, we have to let her in to see him because she's his fiance. Then the family finds out. This whole thing, it snowballs. They think that Peter Gallagher, who plays Peter, right? His name's Peter.
Mm-hmm.
Peter, as Peter, is in a coma. So he can't say that he's not engaged, but then she gets in over her head. It's this whole thing. She's like afraid to tell the truth, which I get because she's like, they were so happy. I feel like I was going to let them down, and it's scary. But also, the nurse who overheard her is the one that tells everyone. So Sandra Bullock isn't the one that says, "Oh, by the way, I did this." So that's caveat one. And then two, the uncle or whatever finds out, and he's like, "Don't tell anyone."
Turns out he's just a family friend.
Yeah, he's
the neighbor.
Oh, yeah. He's the godfather. Right, and he's like, their kid's in a coma. They need this. Don't do it. So those are the things that it's not technically her lie. She's not the one that told it.
Right.
It's a thing that everybody misunderstood. And then she's like, I don't know how to let go of this because it's become this huge thing.
Right.
And then but also at the end, she's the one that comes clean. So those are the things that get. I still don't enjoy it.
It's still a very sitcom premise.
Yeah, I still don't enjoy the fact. Like, I really don't like movies that's the whole premise. I don't enjoy movies whose whole premise is like.
I just don't enjoy movies.
Obviously, this whole premise is like, oh, I'm gonna lie about something, and then it snowballs, and like all of these awful things happen that wouldn't have happened if you'd have just either not lied or just come clean about the lie the first time you were. But like, she's never like, the only time is when like she finds out like from one of his friends that he only has one ball.
Right.
And so they're like, when she gets confronted with not really being his fiance, she's like, he only has one testicle. And then his mom like checks his jennies by hand, I think. Anyway, but
that's a great moment.
Yeah. I wrote down in my notes, and I wrote down that I mind it. I like, even though like the whole like it's based on a lie thing is such a pet peeve for me, it's not her lie, and she gets wrapped up in it, and I feel like that's kind of, I still don't enjoy it, but like that's why it's not as stressful for me, because she's not literally being like, by the way, he proposed to me, and she's not coming up with like more and more outlandish things like to keep the lie going, like she doesn't really lie, like she doesn't lie about his testicle. He really does only have one testicle, like none of these things are like lies, like they'll be like, when's the first time, what's, like, because she has like a crush on him, so like they'll be like, what did you first notice about him? And she'll be like, oh, he had a beautiful smile. Like, she's not saying anything, like she doesn't say like, oh, he and I did this, or like she doesn't really lie if she can help it, like, anyway. But I wrote down that it would be way more gross if it was a girl in a coma and a guy lying about it. I was like, it would feel so much creepier and disgusting. But I read on the trivia that it was originally written that way, and no one wanted to touch it because they were like, this feels so predatory.
LOL, Hollywood producers
right?
thought it was too predatory.
Something's predatory. They're like, I don't want to be outed like this.
Yeah, too close to home, guys.
Can you just like rewrite it so that it doesn't feel like it's about me? So yeah, it got rewritten, and like the first draft of the rewrite where it was like a woman instead of a man was like, oh yeah, hell yeah, we'll do that.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Oh, this doesn't feel creepy. I mean, it kind of, like...
No, it's still creepy.
Oh, no. I was going to say, it kind of still feels creepy because, like, but something... Anyway, I feel like I'm like, okay. I can finally talk about this movie.
Finally.
I've never been able to talk about this movie before.
Okay, let me do some credits real quick. Okay. Some serious credits.
Before you go, I just want to say Sandra Bullock's bangs in this movie.
They're the main character.
Yeah. Bat in the city. Sorry if I ruined that joke for you.
No, thank you. I'm glad I... Speaking of references to Woody Allen, Jack Warden plays the godfather to Peter that you referenced. Mm-hmm. And he's great. That's all. He's in a lot of Woody Allen movies, it turns out.
Oh, really? Wouldn't fucking know.
Yeah. But he's really great in this. Glynis Johns, who plays Peter's grandma, is great in this. I love her.
Wonderful.
She's in Superstar
Mm-hmm.
and plays
Ugh,
Mary Catherine
again.
Gallagher's grandma. That she
So amazing. Just amazing.
and Superstar was her last credit on IMDb anyway.
So
So she, apparently, seemingly still alive.
Mm-hmm. Fingers crossed.
She's great. So Peter Gallagher plays Peter, already noted. Bill Pullman, we haven't named, but plays Jack.
Yeah, plays the brother that comes
Peter
in.
Gallagher plays Peter Callahan.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's a
Jack Callahan, played by Bill Pullman. A.K.A. Lone Star Zero Ambrose.
He is... Yeah, Bill Pullman is one that, like, I did not... I mean, like, I think Bill Pullman's attractive. Like, Bill Pullman's, like, fine. But I was, like, very indifferent about him.
Yeah, he's...
Very indifferent. I was like, oh, yeah, he's fine. And, like, until he was in The Sinner, playing a little subby bitch that likes getting his fingers stepped on and wants to be dominated and choked and shit like that. And I'm like, wow, Bill Pullman's fucking hot. Oh, you like getting hit by women? Fuck. Yes, this dude can get it. So that's...
Also, I feel like he's aged into...
Oh, God, yeah, he's aging really well, too.
Yeah.
And then his hair? Good God. What the fuck, man? Like, he has a beard in The Sinner, and I'm like, hello. That does not happen with me. Usually someone gets facial hair, and I'm like, no, thank you. No, thank you. But, like, yeah. He's all, I mean, yeah, just saying. Bill Pullman, if you ever want to research getting your fingers stepped on for real, I'm available. Maybe.
No, that's fine. Who else? Oh, Peter Boyle. Another Peter. This is the movie of Peters, if you know what I mean. Plays Father Callahan. Patriarch.
Papa.
Ox.
Papa Callahan.
Is that his?
Ox, yeah.
Rude.
Monica Keena.
Is the
little sister.
The 15-year-old?
Yeah, the child sister. Very early crush on Monica Keena. That was one of
in this film?
Yeah, probably. I mean, like, I was like 10 when this movie came out, so it was one of those where I was like not aware of it. I just thought she looked really cool, but like as I was like growing up, she was also in this movie called Snow White: A Tale of Terror that I was like that also
Sounds
has
great.
Yeah, we should watch it, honestly. It also has Sam Neill.
Ooh.
And Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, and sold.
Yeah. But she was also in this film called Strike with basically every like early
baseball player?
Yeah, early baseball player. No, it's I don't know what it's about. It's just like basically about a bunch of girls in a private school.
Hot.
There's this infamous line though from it that they repeatedly say as an insult. Up your Ziggy with a Wawa brush. So that's something. Anyway, yeah, she was in that movie too. That also has Merritt Weaver in it. Again, love her.
Who's that?
You know Merritt Weaver. She was in that movie in that show, that Western show that you watched. She played like the lesbian sister or something like that in the Old West. I don't remember what it was called.
Old West?
Yeah, it was like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was called. Like Godsend or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. It was something like that.
Yeah.
Godless, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Merritt Weaver. Also, Heather Matarazzo was in it. Hello. Rachel Lee Cook.
Which, is she related? I know we've talked about this.
Nope. No relation to Gaten.
Although I saw that she was adopted.
Oh, interesting. She's also a big old homo. Which I found out in like the best way, because she was like talking about how she had like a huge crush on Jodie. I don't know. It was like something about like something that they did on like, I don't know, some sort of like queer cinema like documentary, and she was like, Jodie Foster was so hot, and I was like, oh, Heather Alvarado? You thought? Oh my god! And I like had no idea. I was like, what? It's always nice when like you grow up watching someone on TV or whatever, and then they are like, oh yeah, I'm gay, and you're like, yes, this whole time I was being influenced by you and I didn't know it. I don't know, it's nice. It's a nice feeling. What?
Nothing.
You're such a dick.
I'm sorry.
Also, Joe Jr.
Yeah.
played by, oh, you don't know? Okay, I don't know.
Fuck.
You were talking.
I didn't have it at the ready. But go on.
I mean, you were, yeah. I feel like, so there's this whole scene where, like, so.
It's a whole subplot.
Yeah, with, like, Joe Jr. is, like, Sandra Bullock's landlord's nephew.
Son?
Son?
Any?
Yeah. Son or nephew or something. Oh, yeah, no, it is his son. Whatever.
Michael Rispoli.
And he like keeps trying to like date Sandra Bullock, and he's like being creepy about it, but also like there's an aspect of it that seems like he's actually just all talk, like has no idea, like, you know, which I don't know, like we've all experienced that creepy dude that's like very sure that he's good at sex and just says things to you and you're like, ooh.
I'm good at sex. You're bad at sex.
But then you meet that one guy that's like says creepy shit, but the second you're like, what? And they're like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have ever said anything. I apologize. And you're like, oh, you literally just think you're supposed to act that way, and it's like a very weird.
Yeah, right.
Like one time, this is not a good story, but one time I got groped at a party. Yes, I know. It's terrible. And I turned around and I looked at the guy that did it, and he literally went, I'm so sorry, and like sunk into his chair and was like, I'm so sorry.
Ooh.
And I was like, okay, that kind of feels good. He was terrified. All I did was turn around and I looked at him. I mean, I did look at him like, if you ever touch me again, you will lose all of your fingers. And I believe that it got conveyed very well in that one.
Yeah,
turn around and look at him. And
well
he
done.
was so scared of me in that moment. And I was like, I like that feeling. Please be afraid of me always. But yeah, it's not a good story. But at the same time, I feel like it's that sort of thing where like someone being like, oh, I'm going to do this manly masculine thing. And when you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
There's
you're
some
like,
jokes
okay,
about
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so sorry. But anyway, when she's trying to hide him, because everyone thinks like they're actually dating. Not everyone, but like people are.
Jack.
Yeah. But like people don't understand, yeah, because he's just like, yeah, we're dating, we're in a relationship, and everyone's like, it's just like a thing where like no one's gonna know,
right?
You know. So she's like trying to hide him from people, and she hides him in her closet. Whatever. But anyway, she catches him trying on her shoes, which is kind of a great bit because he's like, my foot just like slipped.
Oh God! What are you doing?
I slipped.
You're trying on my shoes?
No. When I fell, my foot went like that right into the shoe.
Who is it?
It's me, Jack Callahan.
God, doesn't anybody use a phone anymore?
I do.
I'm not talking about 900 numbers.
Who told?
But I think that was my first introduction to foot fetish. Shit. Like I knew, I was like, oh, he likes feet.
Well, shoes, anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you wearing the black bra? But this guy, Rispoli, has played a Joe or Joey or some variant of that in a lot of different movies.
Yeah, yeah.
Including Kick-Ass and, oh crap, what's the other one?
Oh, God, I can't remember. But
Oh, he plays Joey T in Summer of Sam.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember if I've seen that.
I have not.
So things...
So all these movies are in the same universe as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So, okay, first of all, James Spader was thought to be cast in this movie, which is
Whatever,
like, what?
dude.
Matthew McConaughey.
A then unknown McConaughey.
Yeah, was turned
down because of his accent.
He has such a thick accent.
All right,
But I do want to say this, okay? Like, a couple things.
Okay.
couple things. So she like after having watched like so many documentaries on like cults, I'm like Lucy, played by Sandra Bullock. Lucy's like literally prime
Pickens.
Yeah, for a cult. Like,
That's right.
She needs to be aware.
No family.
Single. Desperate for like someone to love her and see her and care about her. So
just trying to get that stamp in her passport.
Mm-hmm.
That gets said so many times. It's really creepy. It's really but like also trophy hunting.
Also, it's like it's so weirdly like projected onto her too. She's like, "Oh, I'd love to travel and I have a passport." No, and they're like, "You just want to get somewhere. Get that stamp in your passport." And I'm like, "Okay, but like
she says it too, though.
Does she? Oh, it's just weird.
She definitely says it in the coda.
But like, why is it like? Yeah. But like, why is it like? Why is that weird? Like, why is that like? I mean, you could go to Canada and get a stamp in your passport. Why is it just like so? Fucking like this thing of like that makes her so different from anyone else.
Well, it's just
I don't know.
Yeah, just that phrase makes it fetishizes it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not weird to want to see the world.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like
the fact that it's referred to that way is like
it's like that
confusing.
she doesn't. But like it also trivializes it because it's like
right. It doesn't matter what the destination is.
You don't want to go somewhere. Like she just keeps talking about wanting to go to like Paris or Italy or whatever. I don't
Florence.
Remember. Yeah, Florence. And they're like, you just want to get a stamp in your pet. No, she wants to go to fucking Italy. She's said it a lot of times. like, yeah, she probably likes to get a stamp that she had been
relive the
to this place that she
plot of Under the Tuscan Sun.
It hasn't.
I don't know if Florence is in Tuscany, so forgive me.
Also, I want to say.
Also, you notice no one dates in this movie.
Oh yeah,
they just get engaged.
That makes sense. It was the 90s. This is what everyone was doing in the 90s. I know
False.
You weren't around. I know you were too young to know this.
It's true.
Because I'm so much older than you are. And I was only 10 when this movie came out. So no, but I do want to say this. This is something that I think, like I didn't have the tools to process this as a child. So the thing I find interesting about it is like the idea, like the idealization versus reality aspect of it. Like she idealizes Peter, and she has like an idealized version of him, and that's never actually challenged. Like he's asleep the whole time, and he never, like when he finally wakes up at the end, and he doesn't remember her. It's not like she doesn't find out he's like a jerk. She doesn't. I mean, we kind of as an audience find out that he's not perfect, but like she never really gets to know him. He's always an idealized version. So really what she's presented with is like, do you want to have your idealized life, or do you want reality? And she chooses reality, and I think that's actually kind of really important. Like she could marry him. She can have this life that she like daydreamed about, but at the and nothing would really matter. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't like cuz like I guess what I'm trying to say is like Jack is reality, Like she gets to know him. She knows him as a real person. Like she's having conversation. Like she didn't meet him before.
Comparison.
She didn't have an idea of who he was. She didn't think about him. She just like she meets him and gets to know him in a real kind of way. And she chooses that over literally marrying someone that she has idealized and essentially like lied to be in their life. But like what she really cares about is the reality. And not like a pretend
Maybe
version.
That's one reading.
Well, yeah.
It could be that someone actually shows an interest in her by kind of stalking her, and so she catches feelings for that guy.
Does he stalk her? He just like gives her a couch.
He kind of just shows up. Yeah.
But that's from his parents. Like he gives her a couch. Yeah.
But he kind of his first appearance, doesn't he just show up at her place, and that's when the confusion about her being with Joe Jr. happens?
No. That happens after.
Okay.
Because he that's him getting jealous, because he first meets her at Christmas.
Oh,
Like when
right.
they have the
That's
Christmas
right.
thing. Then he comes to deliver the couch that the parents got her.
As
And
an engagement
yes,
gift.
and then they take it to
And
Peter's
it's a love
place.
seat, by the way.
Sorry. They take the couch to Peter's.
Love seat.
Oh my god.
I don't want the listeners to get the wrong image.
No, I mean, like, you just said it, and I'm like, anyway, the couch. Like, I just don't,
Yeah, I can't let it go.
No. I'm saying, like, you literally just corrected me, and it, like, left my mind that quickly.
Oh, I see.
You're like, it's love scene. I'm like, yeah. Okay, so the couch. And then you said love scene, and I was like, oh, I forgot. Anyway, I just think, I mean, like, obviously this, like, what? This is a love story from the 90s, like, written, like, it's a comedy. It's
Love
like,
seat. From the My taint has fallen asleep somehow. It's like riding a bicycle for too long.
You poor thing. Your poor ass. Like, Keith. Keith finding
My impoverished booty.
Keith finding a position to sit in.
It's
during...
like watching an old dog trying to lay down.
And so I just feel so bad because I just like sit and I'm like very comfortable, and he like spends the whole time like his by the end of each podcast, his face, like at the beginning he's like, oh yeah, we're doing this, and by the end he's just like, oh my butt my butt hurts.
That's going in the trailer if I ever make one. My butt hurts. Over you.
That's just page 1. I haven't even gotten to page 2 yet.
Oh my God!
I know
There's
I'm-
not that much movie.
Wait,
There's that many characters though.
What
Why is there such a huge cast?
What about the part where she says, "You stepped in doggy poopy"?
Yep. Did you see in the goofs or whatever
Mm-mm.
that when they're in that sequence when they're on the bridge and they pass the couple making out?
Uh-huh.
Apparently they pass that same couple twice. Like,
I did not notice.
A trivia that I liked was,
Mhm.
you know, when
Mhm.
Glynis Johns, G-Ma says, I don't drink anymore, but I don't drink any less either.
Yeah.
Apparently, because she says that to Jack Warden. Jack Warden says
Said
that in a movie in the 60s
Yeah.
called It Shouldn't Happen to a Dog. So I got to watch that movie now.
So there's one there. Okay, so I have a huge pet peeve of when someone makes a mistake and instead of being like, my bad, they say, oh, I lied. I hate it so much.
Yes.
Because it's not a lie. If you're like, I think I have more.
Also, it's like,
I think
can
I have.
I steal that from you?
I don't care about that one. That one's Keith. That one is
okay.
on Keith. Just to clarify, I don't care about that because I'm like, whatever. But, and I'm not dismissing it. I'm just saying it doesn't infuriate me. But like, someone will be like, oh, I think I have another Coke in the fridge, and then they don't. And then they're like, oh, I lied. You literally just said you're not sure. Let me check. And then you're like, you lied about checking? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a pet peeve. So another, something not quite as enraging, but similar, is when Jack and Lucy are talking. Lucy's like, oh, my dad died. And Jack's like, I'm sorry. And she says, well, it's not your fault. I'm like,
But you do that to me a lot.
no, because I don't know. I don't do...
Mm,
I say I'm sorry a lot.
true.
And I'm sorry is fine.
False.
Saying I'm sorry is fine.
Read it in deep.
However, it's when someone's saying, like, I'm sorry that someone died. It's not like, oh, I'm sorry. And you're like, oh, it's like, oh, you don't have to feel bad about it. Like, if you're like, oh, I feel, you know, like I feel like when you say something ambiguous, like if you say like, oh, I feel this way or something like that, and someone's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'll say like, oh, you didn't do anything because I'm like worried like, oh, you're not the one that caused that. You know what I mean? Like that's a fine way.
Okay,
but if
question.
you're like, well, hold on. If you're like, oh, my dad died, and someone's like, oh, I'm sorry, being like, well, it wasn't your fault. Like, first of all, I'd be like, why would I'm saying I'm sorry you lost a parent.
Sorry I murdered your dad.
Yeah, I'm not saying like sorry that he's dead because of me. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's a lot of assumption there. Anyway, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, why would you say, like, it's not your fault my dad's dead? Like, imagine if it was. Like, it'd be a different movie.
Right? Do you think Lucy, the character,
Yes.
was doing that to be funny?
No.
Okay.
You need a better coat.
This is my dad's.
Oh, and he's probably freezing.
He passed away.
Sorry.
It's not your fault. Passed away last year. I don't even remember my mom. So.
Okay, we're going to take a break real quick. Be right back.
So, a few things.
Real quick,
Yeah.
as I like to say.
Yeah. Oh, that's you're saying that for me.
Psych.
Oh, when the Godfather tells Peter he's like he was there for him since the first time he got hair on his schmeckle. So that was a good line that I felt uncomfortable with.
Uh-huh.
There's a Bob's Burgers episode
Yes.
based on this movie, which is amazing. I love Bob's Burgers. So, I wrote this down, and this isn't necessarily factual. It's just how I always imagined it because it's extremely cold. And every time that you see her getting ready for anything, she has like 17 sweaters on over 17 sweaters. So I just kind of assume that she's just like has no heat in her building.
Ow, that coffee's hot.
I'm so sorry. So I just always imagine as a character she doesn't shower for the whole entire film. Because I've always imagined that. Like I just thought like she doesn't shower, and I'm always like, well, it's too cold. Yeah, it's too cold. She's like anytime you see her, she has like 6 layers of socks on and at least like 3 sweaters. And
I don't recall seeing any socks.
Yes, when she's trying on the wedding shoes.
The wedding dress.
Yeah. She's got like at least 2 pairs of socks, very thick wool socks on. So I just imagine there's no heat in her apartment because like what? I mean, like I understand Chicago's cold and like the joke is like Chicago's cold or whatever, places are cold. It's cold, but like I'm wearing one pair. I mean, like, you know.
Also, I mean that she's pathetic. Right? Like we're supposed to feel sorry for her because she's not dating anybody and single.
Well, yeah,
but
I always feel really weird about that.
She dips a cookie into her
cat's bowl of milk
bowl before eating it.
That's not single. That's not being single. That's just not caring about.
She's a real millennial, zillennial.
But I wanted to say this. So the scene where they're going into Peter's apartment and it's very like white carpet and like rich people. So the flight attendant, when we watch that and they go into the dude's apartment, I can't remember whatever his name is. When they finally break into his apartment, that's all I could think of was that scene from While You Were Sleeping. Because that's what it looks like.
Totally.
It's like rich people with white carpets is always like which is believable because like if you're rich, you can have like all the white furniture in the world. Because like if you spill something on it, you can just be like, oh, I'm going to throw this out the window and then I'm going to buy an even more expensive white couch.
Well, in fact, that happens. They spill onto the carpet.
I know, yeah. Which I like that. I like that they're like, oh, and then they just put the couch over the thing that they spilled on.
She knocks over a vase that has, or not a vase, it's a vase because it has a living plant in it.
Does it have a living?
In theory, because it has the blue liquid that they always use for like panty liner commercials, or like the pins.
When they spilled on the white carpet, he said, "Quick, get a maxi pad." I was like, "Oh shit, that's."
Or it's like I don't know if you've ever seen, in barbershops.
Oh, the comb.
The disinfectant they keep combs in.
Ew.
Or Windex, basically. Why is it that color? Why would you put a plant in that? Or why would you put that in?
Because he's rich.
And also, why does it shatter onto the carpet?
Because it's that hard carpet.
Hardpit.
Also, like, when they go to the party,
Mm-hmm.
like, what? What were
The
you gonna
only
say?
time you see black people more
Right.
than one at a time.
Right. And,
There's
like,
only-
everybody, there's like, one, like, her boss is a black man who she just uses basically as a therapist. That's
Yeah.
not a racist trope at all.
No.
And then there's her like work buddy who's
Celeste.
basically who's like, you know, kind of the like again the trope of like the sassy black friend, and it's like that's it. Like
I don't think she was that sassy.
No, she wasn't, but I felt like it honestly felt like they realized during making the movie that they didn't have any like people of color in the movie at all. It's always really weird to me when you're watching a movie and like it's all white people. Like Mr.
Yeah.
Mom, there was not a single person of color in Mr. Mom when we were watching that. I was watching this and I was like, what? No one in that. I didn't see.
No, well, the people that say
Oh, that's
at
right.
the auto plant
Right,
that
yeah.
he's talking to
But
about
at
Rocky.
the same time, it was one of those where I couldn't tell if they were like actually people of color, if they were doing.
Well, isn't one of them black?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Anyway.
It's like, but it's like for 30 seconds.
No, I know. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's it. That's always so. And I mean, like, I don't. It's like it's that thing where it's like, I don't want there to be like characters in there, like people of color in there that are tokenized
Right.
either. But it's like, Jesus Christ, those aren't your only two
Yeah.
options.
True.
Like, well, if we put
Also,
someone
it's
in here,
Chicago, so it's like
right, exactly.
It's
like,
not.
it's
It's
just
a pretty
and
diverse city.
I mean, like, I will say, like they are very like the only people that exist in the movie are coworkers, other than Peter's family.
Uh-huh.
Also
Hospital staff.
The hospital staff. They were all mostly.
Oh, there's
people
a
of
black
color.
orderly.
Yeah, and like in the when they're all
He
when
even
they're
has a
all
line or
doing
two.
like the hospital's doing New Year's when Peter wakes up from his coma suddenly. Like literally in the background, like the majority of people in the background are people of color.
Yeah.
But that's it. It's like that thing where it's like
Yeah.
someone comes in and it's like token. Like we look,
Right.
we have a diverse cast because you can see in the background we have.
Right.
It's so weird. Okay, but I wanted to say that like that's a weird thing that they there's no the only
It's definitely a thing that I feel way more conscious of
Yeah.
watching films now.
yeah.
That I,
Yeah.
as a white person,
Uh-huh.
a young white person, I didn't think
Right.
about at all.
Yeah.
Partially because
Because privilege.
well, yeah, I also didn't really grow up around a lot of, especially
Which is, again,
black folks. So
it's that wild to me.
yeah,
Not.
it's possible.
I know. I'm like, it's like it. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
it's just not something. Yeah. I grew up like around a lot of, which is strange because I grew up in the South.
Yeah, weird.
But what? But I grew up mostly around like people of color.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying.
Well, that's where most of them are.
I know, but I mean, like,
If movies have taught me anything,
I know, but I'm saying the concept
the American
of
South,
the South.
the global South.
No, I know, but the concept of the South is what I'm saying. Is like that it's all just like rednecks.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like people.
or segregated.
Yeah.
really.
Exactly. Right. And it is. I mean, it can
Sure.
be. It can be very much so. Anyway, that's
This is why
an aside.
This is why you tuned in to listen to about while you were sleeping. Race analysis
But I'm not in over my head.
by some white passing folks. I pass as white because I am. So
I pass as
not
white
to
because
play the white card.
I pass as white because my father's genes are colonizer genes.
From the mountains to the streams.
But
These genes are...
the whole thing with family and that, like, it's one of those things where, like, I relate, but also it's, like, weird. Because I grew up with a very big family.
Please? Okay.
I grew up, like, I grew up with, like, in a household with, like, 4 other siblings and, like, a very small abode, and we were just, like, you know, it was just, like, noise all the time, and there's just, like, something happening all the time. Like, the scene where they're, like, at the table, like, just trying to eat, and all of the parents, or, like, their parents and grandparents and everybody, they're all just, like, having conversations, like, by themselves and with each other that do not connect to each other, and they're just, like, sitting there, like, what the fuck do we do? And, like, I'm like, yeah, no, that's correct. That's how it is. But at the same time,
isn't she, like, enamored by that though?
Well, kind of, yes. I mean, it is funny though. Like, when that's happening in the moment, you're literally like, I had no idea what to do with this, and, like, a lot of times it can be really funny in the moment.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was, like, like, felt like, oh, I could have, like, my family, that could be my family,
that was
is what I mean.
Believably done.
Yes. But everyone essentially getting along. Like, even their, like, little bickering that they do every now and then, nothing. I'm like, oh, no, this is not like my family. Because, I mean, like, if my family's having an argument, literally there is screaming.
Yeah.
Things might get thrown. You will be going outside to be able to yell as loud as you can. Like, sometimes we even had, like, neighbors come out and ask if we were okay, kind of shit. That's how arguments.
And pick a side.
I mean, yes, they would. Like, I mean, the neighbors had, like, my mom's side on everything. They were like,
so sorry.
Thank you for apologizing.
You're welcome. Sorry that I murdered your father. But I feel like one of the points, at least made by Saul, one of the arguments for her not coming clean is that Peter's engagement that they didn't know about has brought everybody together. And then as soon as he said she does come clean at the altar, spoiler, too late, spoiler, alert. Warning, spoiler, alert, late.
Yep. I get the joke.
It immediately blows up, and they're all arguing. And
no, he didn't say it brought them together. He said it made them feel close to Peter. It brought Peter closer to them because Peter is, like, rich, and he's the successful one that, like, no longer is around his family, and they're all very close knit, and Peter's kind of like, you know, only shows up around the holidays kind of thing.
You remember the day you said you'd never do anything to hurt the family?
Yeah.
Well, since they met you, they figure they have Peter back. Now, if you tell them the truth, you'll take him away again. They need you, Lucy. Just like you need them.
And LOL, they still all live in the same city.
I know. What? And very close to each other.
Seemingly.
When she goes to his apartment to drop off the couch and cover up the stain on the carpet with the couch, and then, like, the parking. I really can't. I'm never going to retain that. But,
the parking garage? Is that what you were going to talk about?
Parking garage. No, the parking situation where they're like, he's, like, blocked in and he can't move because.
Oh, when Jack's truck gets blocked in.
And they're like, oh, let's just walk home. I'm like, where do you live that you, like, live, like, close enough to walk? And I'm not saying, like, obviously, like, you know, I've been to Chicago. A lot of stuff is, like, really walkable, or, like, you can just hop the train.
It is possible to live near other people.
Train. Like, what am I talking about? But, like, it's that thing where I'm like, what's the chance that you all live so close that you're just, like, walking to each other? Do you remember,
this was when we watched, oh gosh, what is it, with Kevin Bacon,
Oh, I'm not gonna. Oh.
Stirs of Echoes?
Stir of Echoes. Stir.
Is that really what it is?
Stir
Stir
of-
of Echoes?
Yes. Stirrups echoes.
I'm never going to be convinced that that's actually what it's called. Because to me, it's like the shadow of wind. What? Anyway.
Isn't Stir of Echoes a saying, though? Am I wrong about that?
Maybe.
I thought it's a saying.
Anyway. That's also set in Chicago. And remember how they never drive anywhere.
Yeah.
They walk to the
a game,
fucking
yeah.
sports event.
Which I think is like a high school game, which is also a really weird thing. They're like drinking out of a flask going to a high school game.
Well, that would happen here.
Yeah. That would well, no, that would happen college here. Oh God.
Oh yeah.
I don't miss working in a cafe or sports.
Well, it is that one of the core dudes, his kid is
Oh yeah, an athlete.
quarterback
Yeah.
or whatever. Quarterback.
Oh, but what I was gonna say about the party though is that like watching something with a party in it is so strange now. Like I see parties and I'm like, that's so dangerous.
Pandemic.
Yeah,
wise.
like and like the way like it changed how like I'll literally like I forget like even if it's like, oh, this movie's from I think that's also another reason why, especially since
Sorry.
especially since the pandemic, I think it's another reason why like I more so want to watch 80s and 90s movies more than anything else because I'm aware that it's a different time than now and like
Right.
anything that's
It
like
looks different
anything,
enough.
yeah, anything that's like now looking in any way, I'm like, why is there a crowd? Why are people, how can you fly? Like, I just can't like disconnect from, like I watched a documentary, like when the pandemic like first started and like someone was like,
Contagion.
no, and like someone was just like, oh, I went out to eat. I'm like, why the fuck are you going out to eat? It's a pandemic. And I'm like, no, this was from a few years ago. This is not from now. Like,
like sort of on the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
On the other hand.
Yes. On the other hand of the coin's hand.
Now, how you'll see ads will have people wearing masks.
Yeah, I know. I feel really weird about that.
Yeah. I mean,
it'll be
that's
like
great.
a crowd of people and they all have masks on, and I'm like, missing the point, buddy.
I saw one where it was someone seemingly coming into their workspace.
Yes.
Wearing a mask, and then they take it off to talk to their coworker. I'm like, this is real mixed messaging.
I know. Well, that seems to be the general.
That fits the tone of the country.
Mask wearing. People are like, as long as you have like. I mean,
do you own a mask? Great.
Yeah, exactly.
The
like I bought a mask, so I don't really need to wear it. I have it in case the pandemic, in case I see. Yeah, exactly. Oh, got to put my mask on because
it's COVID. Kakamia.
Literally, like that's how I feel like people act about masks. They're like, well,
y'all got any lungs?
You know, like I have this. I have this mask just in case I see it coming.
Right.
You know, like
just in case I see a giant sphere with red dots coming down the road.
Right, like some fog, some like misty fog is gonna be coming at me, and I'm like, I
shit,
have my mask. Yeah. Anyway, but something that I know that I really liked about this movie that you're gonna be like, ugh, and I know that because I know you really well. The fashion, I fucking love it.
Really?
Absolutely. I don't know why. Like the skirts and the fucking like crop sweaters. What the fuck? Who needs that? But I love it.
I enjoyed the fashion. We also watched this past week. We watched The Prophecy.
Yeah.
Woo! I enjoyed the fashion in that.
Mm-hmm.
Virginia Madsen always.
I mean, Virginia Madsen.
Daisy Duke in her tops for no reason.
Virginia Madsen, first of all, can get it. Second of all, is just can do no right. Like she's just, I love her. She's just drop dead gorgeous and is. I feel like she just is not in enough, honestly.
Yeah.
Personally, that's how I feel. Although the episode of Star Trek Voyager that she's in, dislike. Don't like it. Basically, I feel very uncomfortable anytime Chakotay is given any kind of romantic plot.
Ew,
It always
yeah.
feels really uncomfortable for me. I don't know why. And usually because it's always someone that looks like literally the last time something similar happened, it's like the person that they gave him to like crush on is literally like who they would reach out to if they couldn't get Virginia Madsen. You know, she's just like, you know, blonde curly hair, like, you know, raspy voice, kind of like just that. It felt like Virginia Madsen impersonator, and then like they get Virginia. I don't know. It just, I'm like, I don't want to see it. And then like when the fact that he gets together with Seven,
Blech.
I can't with that show.
I feel like it should have been Lori Petty crushing on him.
Oh God. I mean, yeah, that whole thing was anyway. That's a different podcast
Welcome
that
to
we will never, probably never make. Because if we ever did a Star Trek podcast, it would honestly just be me like talking and you just being like, what? And I'd be like, okay, but first, listen. I have so many Star Trek opinions.
But speaking of parties in the before times, do you remember when we had people over and our buddy Matt, we started talking after like a drink or two, we started talking about Trek.
Oh yeah.
And then our buddy Matt
said, don't know what language y'all are speaking, because we literally were going, do you remember? Yes. And yeah,
okay, but it's like,
yeah, and that's how we would, I mean, I feel like that's probably how the podcast
well, fingers crossed.
God, I feel like there was, yeah, anyway.
Sandy B was nominated for Golden Globe for this movie.
Yeah, she's good. I think she did really good in it.
It's just sad.
Though you kept being like throughout, you were like, why, Sandra? Why? And I'm like,
magic, it's tragic.
I was just like, what, Keith? And you're like, I'll save it for the pod. And now you. Yeah.
No, this is it's kind of a joke of itself because I think clearly Sandra Bullock has made a lot of movies, and I assume a lot of money as a result, because there's a lot of
correct
movies that have done well.
Yeesh.
But I don't understand her choices, and I think she's a better actor than the roles she's taken have shown.
No, I agree. Well, I mean,
and I came to this conclusion when I decided to watch All About Steve, in which she plays a character who, it isn't stated, but probably is autistic.
Yeah. Or like that thing they do in movies where they like use a lot of autistic
it's
traits.
Coded, yeah.
Yeah. They'll make it like to signify that they're like unhinged or whatever. Like, you know, this person.
She's in her 30s and still lives with her parents and never had a relationship. And
yeah. And like it's always
it's
like
basically the same as Lucy, except that her parents are dead.
Yeah.
In While You, which is basically my story. I'd still be living at home if my parents were alive. In my defense, I watched All About Steve just because I heard Hari Kondabolu say that he's in it for like 2 seconds, which is true. And
turns
Bradley,
out he was right.
Bradley, oh shit,
Cooper
is also in this movie. That's all. Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah,
that's another good reason to watch it.
Thomas Hayden Church.
Bill Pullman and Peter Gallagher are in Malice together, which is on my list.
Oh.
I want to watch that.
Oh.
Did you also see that Bill Pullman and Sandra Bullock both have played parents to Mae Whitman?
I did, yeah.
Is it Whitman or Whitmere?
Whitman.
Okay.
I believe.
Hope Floats and?
Seen both of them.
Independence Day.
Seen both of those. I mean, we've all seen it.
Oh, did you see the trivia about how there's lots of literal falls?
Yes!
And how it's possibly a metaphor for falling in love.
They said that there's one at the beginning where like an ice skater falls.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
I know. I'm like, I gotta watch it again because I don't remember that at all.
Okay, and as we supposed, there's a scene where there's just a shot of a paper boy biking up a sidewalk and throwing out papers,
throws-
and then totally eating shit.
It's so good.
It's so good.
If it was faked,
It was not.
it was not.
No, it was not faked. And that person actually broke their wrist.
Oh my god! Oh my! I was gonna say if it was faked, then that person deserved an award just for that
I
fall because that was brilliant. Oh my god!
So good. I love that they keep when shit like that stays in a movie.
Same. Oh god. Yeah, I know. Yeah, no. Yeah.
This is not a John Hughes movie.
Hard to believe.
Nor is it
honestly.
directed by Christopher Columbus.
He was he was
I
planning
saw that.
to.
Yeah, he was slated to.
Christopher Columbus. Imagine having that name and being like, not changing it.
Wait, doesn't go by Chris.
I'm sure the first one did too. Girl.
I'm not, because I'm pretty sure it was like Cristobal Colombo. I'm not even. That sounds like a joke I would do, but I think that's actually. Oh, he was Italian after all.
It sounds like a joke I would do.
Totally I'm for real right here, guys. I'm not even joking.
Okay, at the beginning, I do want to say this. It's one of those things where like at the beginning of the movie it's right after she gets mistaken for his fiance and she hasn't really like she doesn't know what she's going to do and she just like she's like it's just happened, she's just met the family for the first time. You know, like Peter's just like it's the same day that he's been put into a coma and she like can't sleep. He's been put into a coma, you know. So she goes to the hospital in the middle of the night and just like visits him.
Well,
and I'm like, there's no way in hell. I mean, like, but I feel
it's like the same day.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's like that night.
Right.
Like she like can't sleep
She can't sleep.
And she just goes to the hospital. And I'm like, okay, I know that rules have changed. Like hospital rules have changed over time.
Yeah.
I know that, but at the same time, I'm like, there's no way in hell that like at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep, you're just able to walk into the hospital like nothing. I mean, I know that she's supposedly his fiance, but like that I'm like, that's so weird.
That's always so hard for me.
That's so weird. Like, and I just think it's creepy. Like, as if she was his fiance, I'd be like,
what about HIPAA?
If she was his fiance, I'd be like, oh, there's no way they'd let that happen. But I'd be like, okay, whatever. She's literally not his fiance, and she's never like actively met him other than like jumping onto a train. Also, the one thing about this movie, like as an adult, that I would say is very unbelievable and absolutely makes no sense is the fact that there is zero media coverage.
Oh, that's a good point.
Of them. She literally jumps onto the subway tracks and like saves his life, and there's not a single story about it on the news or in the paper. There's like, and I'm like,
Also,
I don't know why. Like, it would be a thing. It would be, especially if it came out that she was his fiance. Like, lie or not, like that would become this huge media story. And the fact that it's not even remotely, like they don't even like reference that there's like a story in the paper about it, or like no media at all is trying to get in touch with her. I'm like, that no, I don't believe it once at all.
Oh, that reminds me that there's a scene. It's a funeral for somebody, right? When they're all in the church. Or is it just?
No,
it's just church.
mass.
It's just church. Yeah, that's right. And
there's other reasons people go to church, Keith.
I don't. Whatever. Chicago is a godless Sodom, as far as I know. But Jack says something about the Tribune. Because so they run a furniture company.
Oh, because they check
and they read
yeah.
the obits to like buy out estates. I guess is that what they do?
Because he says it's hard to believe that Peter would get engaged without running a story about it.
without running a story in
the Tribune.
And the dad says, "Okay, we read the Sun Times," which I love because Siskel and Ebert. One was from the Tribune, one was from the Sun Times.
Oh, that's something I never would know. Was that
and all
be a higher love?
it might have been, but I was trying to do the theme song to Siskel and Ebert at the movies.
I don't.
That's also not right.
Anyway, that's all I got.
Okay, just so we don't do the same thing that the movie does. Jason Bernard played Jerry, her boss, Lucy's boss. Marcia Wright played Celeste, her co-worker, who were both at the party just because it's a New Year's party. I guess,
yeah, it makes
co-workers.
sense. It makes sense.
But I thought, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're saying at the hospital party too.
Yes.
The highest concentration of background actors that are of color.
Yes. Correct.
And Rick Worthy played the orderly with the. Peter Gallagher has just woken up and they're moving him to a different floor and he's talking to himself because Jack has left him and he doesn't know it. And the orderly walks up just as Peter Gallagher is saying, like, "Does this sound crazy? Does any of this make sense?" And he's like, "No, but here's your stuff," or whatever.
I don't have to know now. I don't have to know tomorrow. I don't have to know in a year or 10 years. I don't have to have all the answers today, or maybe someday I'll have a clue, but it doesn't mean I can't make a lifetime commitment. Does this make any sense?
Not really, but that's common after a head injury.
My shoes.
I get some good quotes, but you'll hear those as samples.
Doggy poopy is...
No.
Please.
Well, and since you brought up...
God, the squirrels, though, when he's like... Because the whole thing is that Peter is like... As a kid, he was a hero for saving these baby squirrels, and he was in the paper. And
that was in the paper, but not...
Yeah, right, exactly. And then he's like confessing how he's just an asshole to his brother, and he's like, the squirrels, and he's like, don't say it. And he's like, first I knocked him out of the tree, and
with
then
a rock.
Yeah. Oh, also this part. Okay, so when she gets Peter's shit, like, I don't know why this is not a red flag. When she gets Peter's shit, because she's his fiance and they give her all his stuff.
Like you do.
Yeah.
Things that were on his person when he
fell onto the platform.
Off the platform.
Off the love seat. So
sectional.
Fuck. She opens his wallet and he has pictures of himself in his wallet.
Oh, what? I missed that.
It's like him posing with like a fucking tennis racket.
That's amazing. I remember that there's a framed portrait of himself on his bar in his apartment.
But yeah, I'm like,
in black and white.
Right. I'm like, why would that not be like a big... I mean, granted, I am a narcissist. The painting of myself above my bed.
No comment.
You're welcome.
Because you don't have to look at it.
Shout out to the amazing painter Molly Broxton who painted it of me. Check out her stuff. Seriously, she's actually an extremely talented painter, and I'm honored. But yeah, I do think it's a big red flag if like I had a wallet and there was just like a bunch of pictures of me in my own wallet.
I thought the can of tuna was a red flag.
That he had a cat. Also, like, he has a can of tuna and you assume he's got a cat.
Right.
Like, what? Is that what you feed your cat? Poor lady. Like, is that what
she feeds her cat?
Oh yeah, dry food. And like, it's like
cookies and cream.
Would you have, if you were rich, would you be feeding your cat like tuna? Is that like, if I was rich, this tuna can would be for my cat. So weird. Anyway.
No, what you do, everybody knows that if you eat tuna, you save the can for the cat. You take the tuna out.
Yeah.
And then throw the can on the ground so the cat will lick up the oil. So you don't have to rinse it out before recycling. See?
Well,
that's responsible. Okay, and I just... Everyone knows. I don't know if this is true for the L, but famously, New York subway system, there's the third rail, which is just electricity and will kill you.
Yeah. Which is almost never. I feel like...
Also, he's in a coma because he fell 4 feet?
Yeah, but he hit his head on a metal beam.
He hit his head on some teenagers roughing him up.
But I mean, like...
And also, they didn't steal anything off of him?
Because he fell. Because that's the whole point. Like, they come up and they start, like, accosting him, and he freaks out and steps back and falls off of the love seat platform sectional.
Well, I'm glad CTA has taken lots of measures to ensure everyone's safety.
I know, right?
Since.
I know, right? Based on a true story. I was so hoping to get you with that one. The look you gave me. If I could buy
After
that.
you just went on about how, like, if anything even remotely close to this happened, it would be all over the paper.
That look you gave me when I said that, though, is so, like I just want to bottle that look.
This is another thing as an adult and living more in proximity that in my mind, all movies are set in either Los Angeles or New York.
I know, yeah.
Turns out there's a whole subset that are set in San Francisco or Chicago.
A whole subset.
Usually the comedies are in Chicago for whatever reason, and lots of for the 90s.
No, I was gonna say, 'cause you gotta be crazy if you live in Chicago. Am I right?
Chicago, you don't gotta be crazy, but it helps.
Stay weird, Chicago. Let's keep Chicago weird.
Put a bird on it. Chicago. In fact, the next film.
Oh my God. Okay, it's The Neighbors. I literally thought that.
Someone had broken in?
No, I thought that spontaneously the radio started playing, and it was like, oh my God.
That's how Maximum Overdrive starts.
It's true. Girl.
All right. That's it for this episode, I think.
Yeah, I think we did good. I think we covered all the bases. I think we were really... Oh my God.
Wrap it up.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good at...
Chicago!
You don't have to be in Chicago and to live here, but it helps. Wait, before we go, let's... Don't forget to, now that we're live, follow us on Spotify.
We're on Spotify. We also have an Instagram.
Yep.
Where we'll put some things.
Pod on Instagram. Follow us, and we will be giving updates on future podcasts and letting you know when they drop. In case, in case you are like, oh shit, when's the next one drop? You can just check out our
Spoiler,
Instagram.
they go live so far.
Every
I've
Saturday.
scheduled everything to, be live on Saturday morning. Okay, thanks.
Yep. Thanks for listening. We love you.
She would go all the way to Europe just to get a stamp on her passport. I don't know if that amounts to insanity or just being really, really likable.
How can you see into my eyes like open doors, leading you down into my core, where I've become so numb, without a soul? My spirit's sleeping somewhere cold until you